Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here with us today on the English Boost podcast. Today's mission is, well, it's a big one. We are unpacking some incredible source material that fundamentally redefines what it actually means to be a confident person.
Yeah, and I think it's a redefinition that a lot of us really need right now.
Oh, absolutely. Because, we are constantly sold this incredibly loud, shiny version of confidence. You see it everywhere online. It's always this advice to just believe in yourself.
Right, like it's just that easy.
Like bravery is just sitting in the fridge,
Yeah.
right? And you just need to open the door, take a sip, and suddenly you're fearless.
I mean, if only it worked that way.
Seriously. So let me ask you, the listener, have you ever been in a situation where someone told you to just be confident, and it felt about as helpful as being told to just breathe underwater?
That underwater analogy is so accurate. Telling someone to just be confident assumes it's a magic potion, like it's an on-off switch in your brain.
Right, like you can just flip it and you're good.
Yeah, exactly. But the source material we're exploring today argues that this is completely unrealistic. The true test of your confidence rarely happens when people are, clapping for you.
Yeah, or when everything is going perfectly according to plan.
Right. Real confidence is tested in the quiet, awkward, remarkably ordinary moments.
Oh, those are the worst ones.
They really are. It's that moment in a meeting when you actually know the answer, but suddenly your throat feels tight.
Or when you're staring at an email you need to send and you're just terrified the person reading it will think your question is painfully obvious.
Yes. So if it's not a magic potion, and it's not about being the loudest, most dominant person in the room, we have to completely change our starting line.
Okay, so where do we start? How do we build this real confidence?
Well, the material points out that first we have to completely dismantle the biggest myth out there, which is our relationship with fear.
Ah, right. Because we tend to think of confidence as a mood, don't we?
We really do. We think we have to wake up feeling bold and fearless before we can do something difficult.
Like the fear has to be gone before we act.
Exactly. But confidence is actually defined here as a relationship with discomfort.
Yeah.
It is the act of taking action despite your fear.
Wow. So it's not waiting for the fear to vanish. It's moving while the fear is still there.
You hit the nail on the head. The assumption that you need to feel calm before you act is exactly what keeps most people stuck.
Yeah, because you're never going to feel completely calm before doing something scary.
Right. Think about a scenario you find nerve-wracking. Just the vocabulary we use, nerve-wracking, is revealing. Your nerves are literally racked. They are tense, emotionally stretched.
Your brain is basically sending this massive alarm signal to your body, like, hey, this moment matters.
Yes, a massive physiological signal. And when you try to speak under that intense tension, your voice might falter.
You might shake a little or, lose your steadiness for a second.
Right. And the critical mistake we make is interpreting that physical faltering as a complete failure.
Oh, man, I do that all the time. My voice shakes and I immediately think, well, I blew it. Everyone knows I'm an imposter.
It is so common. But there is a brilliant analogy in the material about standing by a cold swimming pool that addresses this.
Oh, I love this part, the cold pool analogy.
Yeah, so many of us spend our lives waiting by the edge of the pool, shivering in our towels, right? Hoping the water will magically get warm before we jump in.
Which it never does. But if we just dip one foot in, the shock of the cold is intense. And I have to push back a little here, playing devil's advocate.
Sure, go for it.
Isn't there a very real risk that one shaky moment ruins our whole identity in that room? Like if we dip the foot in and freeze, everyone realizes we don't belong there.
It's a totally valid fear. I mean, we all feel that. But letting that dictate your actions completely misunderstands how confidence is built.
How so?
One nervous sentence doesn't make you a weak person. It just means your confidence is actively in training.
Oh, I like that. In training.
Right. If you stand by the pool, waiting for the fear to disappear, you will be standing there your entire life. Confidence requires you to act first.
And then the readiness catches up later.
Exactly. Readiness is like that one friend who is perpetually running 10 minutes late.
We all have that friend.
Right. You just have to start walking down the street and trust that they will eventually catch up with you.
That makes a lot of sense. And part of trusting that process, according to the source, is understanding that confidence is domain-specific.
Yes, domain-specific confidence. This completely changes the stakes.
It really does. It means your confidence changes depending on the environment you're in.
Right. So if you are this fantastic, confident problem solver when you are joking around with your friends,
Yeah.
but your mind goes completely blank during a job interview.
You aren't fundamentally a broken person.
Exactly. You were simply undertrained in the specific domain of job interviews.
That is such a relief to hear, honestly.
It is. We fall into this massive cognitive trap where we take one weak area and let it define our entire identity.
Like, I messed up this presentation, therefore I'm an unconfident failure.
Right. Which is just false. You haven't trained your confidence in that specific arena yet, but that doesn't erase all the competence you possess in other areas of your life.
Okay, so if confidence requires this deliberate training rather than waiting for that magical warm water feeling,
Yeah.
how exactly do we train it?
Well, it comes down to gathering proof.
Evidence. Because imagination and visualization aren't enough on their own.
Right. If you want a solid foundation, you have to rely on real-world evidence. But gathering that evidence means we actually have to follow through.
Ugh, the hard part.
Exactly. Follow through. It means making that dreaded phone call today instead of just planning to do it tomorrow.
But wait, isn't it just easier to use imagination? You know, the whole fake it till you make it strategy?
I mean, it's the ultimate tempting shortcut, right?
Totally. Like, if I just visualize myself being this bold, charismatic person enough times, surely my brain will adopt that reality without me having to endure the actual discomfort.
It sounds great, but your brain is far too sophisticated to fall for it.
Really? It won't work.
No, the mind needs actual proof. It won't believe your grand internal speeches if your external behavior constantly breaks small promises.
Oh, wow. That hits hard. Breaking small promises to yourself.
Yeah, if you tell yourself, I am going to speak up in the strategy meeting today, and then you sit in silence for an hour, your brain logs that discrepancy.
It remembers that you didn't follow through.
Exactly. But on the flip side, keeping those small promises acts as what the source brilliantly calls quiet votes.
Quiet votes. I love that phrasing.
Right. You're casting quiet votes for the person you are becoming.
It's not some loud landslide election where you transform overnight. It's just slipping one ballot into the box today by, I don't know, sending the email you wanted to avoid.
Exactly. And over time, as you keep doing that, you build incredible self-trust.
And that self-trust eventually transforms into conviction.
Yeah.
Right.
Conviction, which is very different from that noisy, superficial confidence we talked about earlier.
How does the material describe conviction?
It describes it as a deep, quiet certainty. It has roots. When you operate from conviction, you have a documented record of surviving difficult moments.
So you know you can survive the current one.
Precisely. The math seems simple, right? Keep small promises, build self-trust, gain conviction.
Simple in theory. But we both know it was rarely that simple in practice.
Very true.
Because our minds are exceptionally skilled at getting in our own way. The material talks a lot about self-sabotage here.
Oh, self-sabotage is a huge barrier. We actively damage our own progress to protect ourselves from potential failure.
We avoid the exact practices that would build the evidence we need.
Right. We desperately want the promotion, but we don't apply. Or we want to improve our public speaking, but we decline the opportunity to present.
Because the mind prefers the familiar pain of staying stuck over the unfamiliar discomfort of trying. And the insidious part about self-sabotage is how reasonable it sounds in our heads.
It always sounds reasonable. Fear loves to disguise itself as logic.
Yeah, we don't usually tell ourselves, I'm too terrified to do this. We say things like, oh, I just need a few more weeks to prepare my portfolio.
Or, the timing just isn't right with my current workload.
Exactly. And there is a brilliant line in the source about this. It says, that isn't preparation, that's just fear wearing a really nice jacket.
A really nice professional-looking jacket. I love that. It makes inaction feel like a responsible choice.
It really does. But the material also points out the opposite trap, overcompensating.
Yes. If self-sabotage is fear wearing a nice jacket, overcompensating is fear wearing an incredibly loud, obnoxious jacket.
We have all met the loud jacket person.
Oh, definitely.
It's the person who interrupts everyone else with industry buzzwords just to prove they belong at the table. They talk way too much to hide their insecurity.
Right, they act extra impressive. But the truth is, both the person quietly avoiding the opportunity and the person loudly dominating the room are doing the exact same thing.
Avoiding vulnerability.
Exactly. They are both avoiding the vulnerability of sitting with actual discomfort.
Wow. Okay, so those are two big mental traps. But the source material identifies an even bigger enemy, the ultimate enemy.
Rumination.
Yes. And we need to clearly separate rumination from reflection, right? Because reflection is good.
Reflection is incredibly healthy. You look back and think, okay, my delivery was a bit rushed. Next time, I need to pause. What can I learn from this? That's reflection.
It's forward-looking.
Right. But rumination is a trap. It is the act of replaying a negative thought or a perceived social failure on an endless loop.
Until you are completely paralyzed by it.
Exactly. It's not about finding a solution. It's just punishing yourself for a problem that is already in the past.
The imagery the source uses for this is painfully relatable. It compares rumination to your brain opening a midnight cinema.
The midnight cinema. It is so vivid.
It really is. You are strapped into the front row at 2 a.m., forced to watch your own worst bloopers on a giant screen.
Replaying the typo you made in an email. Or that awkward joke that didn't land.
And the real tragedy of the midnight cinema is that we make ourselves the main character in everyone else's lives.
We really do.
We genuinely believe our colleagues went home and are still thinking about our awkward joke. We completely forget that to everyone else, our mistake was just background noise.
Right, because they're too busy worrying about their own bloopers.
Exactly. But, just knowing that rumination is illogical doesn't stop your hands from shaking when the actual moment of panic hits.
No, logic usually goes out the window in those moments.
So if our mind is constantly trying to trap us in this cinema, how do we intervene in the actual moment?
That intervention happens through our physical presence.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's dig into that.
So before you even speak a single word, your body is communicating. True confidence is described in the material as being self-possessed.
Self-possessed, meaning calm and steady under pressure.
Yes, it's the ability to take control of yourself even when the pressure is immense. And the best way to visualize this is the analogy of nervousness being a passenger in your car.
I love this part. Tell them about the car.
So it completely reframes how we handle anxiety. You do not have to kick nervousness out of the vehicle.
It is allowed to be in the car with you.
Exactly. It can sit in the back seat, it can complain about the traffic, it can shout directions, but it absolutely does not get the steering wheel.
That is such a powerful image. Nervousness doesn't get the wheel.
Right. Being self-possessed doesn't mean you have achieved some Zen state where you never feel fear. It just means your emotions are no longer driving the vehicle.
In translating that to the physical body, the material focuses heavily on composure.
Yes, composure. It uses this image of holding a warm cup of tea with both hands after a grueling, stressful day.
So when you hold that tea, you aren't pretending the day was easy.
No, you aren't sourcing a fake smile or acting like a robot. You are simply giving your nervous system a physiological signal of safety.
You are physically grounding yourself. But let me ask you this. If my heart is racing and I purposefully sit taller, drop my shoulders, and force a dramatic pause before I speak, aren't I just acting arrogant?
I get why you'd ask that. It's a very common concern.
Yeah, isn't it just another version of faking it?
Not at all. There is a profound distinction between posturing and composing. Arrogance is an aggressive expansion, right? It's puffing out your chest to dominate a room.
Trying to make others feel small.
Exactly. But real composure is entirely internal. The source defines composure as simply refusing to abandon yourself in the room.
Oh man, refusing to abandon yourself, that is a heavy, incredibly important phrase.
It really is the core of it.
Because when panic hits, our default physical response is usually to abandon ourselves.
We physically shrink down in our chairs. We rush our words to get it over with.
Yeah, we use language that basically apologizes for our mere existence in the conversation.
Exactly. But being self-possessed means you stand your ground in your own body. You don't shrink, rush, or apologize for existing.
You allow yourself the 3 seconds of silence required to actually formulate an answer.
Yes. You do not abandon your physical presence to the panic.
Okay, so we understand the mindset that confidence is a relationship with discomfort, and we understand the physical posture maintaining composure.
Right.
Now, what is the bridge between understanding this and actually doing it on a daily basis?
That is where the practical toolkit comes in. The source provides an actionable playbook called the 5E confidence method.
The 5E method. Let's break this down for the listener, because this is what you use the exact moment discomfort hits.
Exactly. So step 1 is expose.
Like exposure therapy.
Yes, but in tiny, manageable doses. You deliberately enter the situations you normally avoid. Not the whole mountain, just the first stone.
So if public speaking terrifies you, you don't volunteer for a 45-minute keynote address tomorrow?
No, that would be overwhelming. Exposing yourself means making a commitment to ask one single question during a team sync. You train courage, not avoidance.
Got it. And once you take that terrifying little step, you move to step 2. Evidence.
Evidence. Because, as we established, the brain needs proof to build self-trust.
But the problem is our brains have a negativity bias, right? The midnight cinema will always record your bloopers in high definition.
Unfairly so.
Mm.
Which is why, if you want your brain to remember your progress, you have to manually record the evidence on purpose.
You have to literally write it down.
Yes. Keep a ledger of the hard actions you take. Don't let your mistakes have a louder memory than your progress.
That is so practical.
Yes.
Okay, what is step 3?
Step 3 is edit. This is about auditing the language you use. We all have those shrinking phrases we use to protect ourselves.
Oh, sorry, this might be a stupid question, but
Or, I'm not an expert, but we use them as shields. Editing means cleaning up that language.
swapping it out. So instead of "this may be stupid," you simply say, "I have a question."
Exactly. It's not aggressive. It's just clean and neutral. It fundamentally alters how others perceive your competence and how you perceive yourself.
It stops the cycle of self-diminishment. I love that.
Okay, step 4, embody. Embody. We discussed composure earlier, and this is where you apply it. Put both feet flat on the floor. Take a breath. Deliberately slow down.
You let the body open the door so the mind can follow.
Yes, the body tells the frantic brain, look, our feet are on the floor, we are safe.
We're just holding a warm cup of tea.
Exactly. And the final step, step 5, is exit.
Escaping the midnight cinema.
Escaping the mental loop of rumination. When you do stumble, and you have to stop asking questions that lead nowhere.
Like, why am I always so awkward?
Right. That assumes a permanent character flaw. To exit the loop, you ask an actionable question instead. What is the next action?
Shift from analyzing the past to preparing for the future.
Exactly. Expose, evidence, edit, embody, exit.
It is an incredibly robust framework. But what if I do all 5 steps right? I take the breath, I edit my language, I write down the evidence, I do everything perfectly.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, I still just feel totally unconfident. The fear is still there. What then?
That is when you apply the ultimate reframe from the material. You add the magic word, yet.
Yet.
Yes. Saying I am not confident is a final verdict. It treats your current emotional state as a permanent trait.
But saying I'm not confident yet completely changes the paradigm.
It means you recognize you are in training. It keeps the door open. You move from a state of failure to a state of practice.
A verdict versus training, that drops the pressure immensely.
It really does.
So to pull all these threads together,
Yeah.
deep confidence isn't the belief that life will go perfectly or that nothing can shake you.
No. It is the conviction that even if you shake, you will not leave yourself. It's the ability to withstand the pressure.
Withstanding the pressure. That brings to mind the image of a tree caught in a strong wind.
Oh, that's a great metaphor.
Right. A tree doesn't prove its strength by never moving. If it were entirely rigid, it would snap in half.
Exactly. It proves its strength by bending, by shaking in the wind, but staying firmly rooted.
The goal isn't motionless perfection. It's rooted confidence.
You are going to face nerve-wracking moments, but through deliberate follow-through, you build the capacity to withstand it all.
As we wrap up this exploration, we want to leave you, the listener, with a provocative thought to mull over. We mentioned earlier that crowded, imaginary country called Next Monday.
The place where all our good intentions go to die.
Exactly. Think about the areas in your life where you've been living in that country, waiting by the edge of the pool for the water to warm up.
What is one tiny, uncomfortable promise you can actually follow through on today?
Just one small action. Cast a quiet vote for the person you are becoming. The evidence you need is out there, waiting for you to create it.
Step by step.
Thank you so much for joining us on the English Boost podcast today. Remember, the bravery you are looking for isn't sitting in the fridge. You have to build it. Keep taking those honest steps. We'll see you next time.